Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions regarding this watch. Today, we discuss a lovely Rolex Certified Pre-Owned Oyster Perpetual Submariner date. This is a transitional reference, a 5-digit 16808 in yellow gold. It has an 8.1 million serial, so roughly late 1984, the year I was born. Of course, the model debuted back in 1979 and was made with the dial you see here right through about the end of 84, before this button or nipple style dial was replaced by a more common and subsequently much less exotic looking flat index design. There is a lot to love here, including a genuine tritium dial. We'll get there in a minute. Taking a quick look at the watch, you can see it's 40 millimeters in diameter in yellow gold. In terms of thickness, it's 12.1 millimeters thick. From lug tip to lug tip, just the case, 47 millimeters lug to lug. If we take the solid end lengths of this 92908 bracelet, you can see that it is 51.1 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip. If we include end links, that's the total distance across the wrist with a 20 millimeter spacing in between the lugs. The watch wears nicely on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. We'll zoom out a little bit so you have a better sense of proportion. The watch is comfortable. Now, this is a solid link bracelet, so the watch wears a few years ahead of its time, as you wouldn't have had anything quite so luxurious on a steel sub at the time, but you can see that the end links give it a lot more stance across the wrist. It's suitable for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference, and though it is a dive watch, will easily fit underneath a dress cuff. Of course, the advent of gold submariners on the 1680 generation that preceded this one, but they were making up for lost time. You can see that we have an integrated end link that better mates the bracelet to the case. Note that we have solid end link here and also solid center links, but it still has an old school Rolex stamped clasp. Now, taking a quick look, we've got a flip lock dive extension that extends from inside of that stamped clasp, and many pairs of divots, so you can use your strap tool to change the anchoring point by moving the spring bar, so you have a lot of fine-tuning of the fit inherent there. Taking a quick look at the bracelet itself, you can see that there's only a few removable links. And then if you take a look inside the clasp, you'll note that this watch, which is Rolex Certified Pre-Owned, has gone through a little bit of reconditioning, because although the bracelet 92908 is the correct reference, you'll also note that there is a post-August 1st, 1995 hallmark on the inside of the clasp. So during the reconditioning, for the sake of the Rolex Certified Pre-Owned process, it received a new and more robust clamp in the proper style for the bracelet. That's the nice thing about these Rolex Certified Pre-Owned timepieces. They will certify and warrant a watch that's decades old, including fabrication of vintage style parts. So you could see the lugs, they have not been restored in totality. The idea here was to preserve as much of the original material as possible, which is why you can still see some marks of wear on the case. Could this be buffed down to a shiny tip? Yes, it could. Would it remove metal? Yes, and thus the decision was made to leave it as is. We have setnation on the lug hoods, polish on the case flank, a little bit different from the way subs are done today. We have a trip lock crown in gold. You know that because the 3 dots are present, but the center one is the largest. This 5-digit reference was the beginning of the 300-meter water-resistant Submariner, also the beginning of the universal sapphire crystal, a high-beat movement, and a properly 40-millimeter case. You can see we've got a 120-click bezel with an anodized aluminum insert, which you can plainly see is fresher than the rest of the watch, which means we do have a sapphire-capped Luminova bezel pearl. More on that in a moment. It's a very fine and refined 120-click action, so you can line it up with the minutes hand for a 0 to 60 minute count-up timer. I often prefer dive bezels to chronographs because I find them easier to read with less downstream service costs. The dial is properly original and tritium, and I'm going to demonstrate this to you now, that the hands and the bezel pearl are service replacement units from Rolex installed as part of the CPO process, so you can see those are still luminescent, you can still read them, but the dial is dead as a doornail. It is original tritium and in outstanding condition. We have a gold Open 6, Open 9 date disc, and you can see the tritium signature at the base of the dial. You may also notice that this is a service replacement crystal, because you can see the little laser-etched Rolex crown above the Swiss text. Of course, now we have all of the subsidiary setting functions of a modern sub, including a hacking seconds function, as well as a quick set date. A little bit difficult to operate a quick set date when your hands are gloved, but there it is right there. With a lovely Open 9, Open 6 golden colored disc. Of course, we have that distinctive button-style index design, solid gold, placed on a lovely sunburst metallic dial. Though you can't see what's inside the case, I can tell you what it is. It is the transitional reference 3035. A step up from the previous movements. It's a true 4 Hz or 8 beat per second caliber, free-sprung, overcoil hairspring, 5-position adjusted, COSC chronometer certified. It's a single-sided balance cock rather than a later balance bridge, but again, it's 5-position adjusted and free-sprung, so it's both precisely calibrated and quite durable against shock. Bidirectional automatic winding with a 48-hour power reserve. This watch is a fascinating piece because being Rolex Certified Pre-Owned and in very good condition and part of the transitional generation, this is something that you can wear every day and still regard as more or less a sports watch with few reservations about how you wear it. But at the same time, it is an emerging vintage option, as this era, now known as new vintage, is becoming regarded as collectible in its own right. So if you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. Rolex Certified Pre-Owned watches are backed and authenticated by Rolex. Should any reconditioning be necessary, it will be to a Rolex certified standard, and any parts invested Rolex factory original. Should the initial retail box, paper, and accessory set still accompany the watch, it will be included with the sale. But no matter what, a certified pre-owned box and paper set starts with an outer box, a leatherette travel pouch with suede lining, a warranty card that embodies the 2-year globally valid Rolex-backed warranty. Note, this is not a retail warranty, but backed by Rolex and actionable at any of its authorized points of sales and service. A leatherette wallet includes the warranty terms and conditions manual. A holographic hang tag marks this as a certified pre-owned Rolex watch, and a manual details Rolex's values as a company, the certified pre-owned program, care, feeding, service, and use of your Rolex, locations of points of sales and service, and details of Rolex.com. Rolex certified pre-owned watches are backed only by Rolex.